Now, who's up and coming? What's coming up? We talking television, film, entertainment and such. The hottest topic, yeah, we got it in the clutch.
I know you explain this myself.
Good deal. We're back, guys. We're back. Industry Scoop, Facebook. Yo, you didn't go nowhere. You seen all the chaos and confusion. We're back with a very special guest in the building today.
A very special guest.
The one and only, very talented producer, director, just all around great guy, Mr. Rob Hardy. Let's give it up for him, guys. Rob Hardy.
I appreciate y'all having me.
OMG, this is like a dream. Rob, you are gracing our Mike's Industry Scoop.
Hey, well, thank y'all for lowering y'all standards to let me know. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up.
You know what's so cool about Rob Hardy? He's so freaking supportive.
Right.
Like anything that's going on in Atlanta, you know, independent filmmakers, the independent artists, you know, coming up, you give people advice, you talk to people, you're so approachable.
Yeah.
Like when you were coming up, you just knew you were going to do that for people when you got big.
I think when I was coming up, it was more of a situation of, I wanted somebody to talk to me back then.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that looked out. There were a lot of people that gave us advice and encouragement. So whenever I can, I want to try to pay that forward as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell us how you got started.
So I got started, I grew up in Philly, and shout out to the Eagles.
Philadelphia.
Exactly, all day. And some friends of mine and I, we used to shoot music videos in our neighborhood. And so I knew somebody with a camcorder, and we would do stuff for fun. And back then, we didn't have editing equipment, so you just press pause and press pause on the tape. And then
This is before college?
This is before college, and we were just doing that. And then, that led to a few of us doing a little movie in high school. And then a friend of mine was like, yo, you should do this for real. So when I went down to FAMU, they didn't have a film school down there, and I was doing an internship, and I was bored. And a friend of mine said, hey, when you did that movie in high school, you should do something else. Because I really I saw Menace Society, it inspired me. I was like, I want to do something.
Right. So
we got together, and that's what started the whole independent thing, which was just making movies because, we thought it was fun.
Does FAMU have a film program now?
FAMU does not have a film program
Well,
now.
They need
That's
it.
crazy.
Rob Hardy will pack a film school down there.
I would think they would.
We need to make that happen. No, Florida State has a film school.
Right.
FAMU doesn't, but we got creative, innovative, hustling people.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Let me ask you, I got a question. What's that one point before everything really blew up that you almost gave up? And you said, what kept that one thing? It's like one day, man, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
But something kept you going.
There was a time when, so basically after graduation, Will and I packed up a U-Haul. We moved to Jonesboro, Georgia. So we were down there. We had raised some money to kind of keep us afloat. We blew through all that money in the first year. And I was a music video PA. We were temping. We were cleaning strip clubs. Shout out to Nikki's VIP, Junior's Club, Lil Nikki's. We cleaned all those. So,
A lot of stripper juice on you.
Not so much at 7 a.m. That really was a glamorous spot. But, so we were there and we ran out of money. And so we have these other jobs. And so just to kind of keep ourselves going, we were doing stand-up at Uptown Comedy Corner.
You are playing.
And so we were doing stand-up, and that was not my calling. You know what I'm saying? But we was doing the amateur nights over there, and that was a low point. And I just remember saying, man, if this doesn't pop in the next year, then maybe my dad was right. Maybe we need to go be engineers or something. And that was the year that was the year that we went to the barbershop, Greenbrier Mall, getting our hair cut, and they had this conversation about a menage a trois. And then Will Packer said, yo, we need to do a movie about menage a trois.
Wow.
Let's do that. And that birthed the idea for Trois.
Okay.
Wow. That's great, man. See, people don't realize the struggle you guys went through. All they see right now is all the success that you guys are having, which is tremendous. But they need to hear this kind of stuff because it's a lot of dark times for people, and they just don't realize you got to just champion through and keep pushing, man.
Yeah, it's crazy because at that time, when we come out of school and we were the filmmaking guys and all of our people are making money, what we were doing sounded sexy because we wanted to be filmmakers and we were renting a house. But then a couple of years in, all of our friends were buying new cars. They had new furniture. And then the ladies were like, hey, so what's up with y'all health insurance? What y'all doing? And after a while of just not really having money, you start thinking man, maybe I'm tripping. And you would see people coming up, you would see people making money, and no matter what we tried, it seemed to fail. You know what I'm saying? But what I realized is that when you come out and you figure out a way to make what you love pay your bills. If you can make what you love pay your bills and then have a little bit of extra money to do something fun, then you win it. And then you realize how many of folks that have more money may not really love what they're doing.
That's
True.
Mm.
True. You talk a lot about this in Amazing Stories.
Yes.
Is that still
one man
going on?
One man show,
Yes.
right? It's your one man show.
It's
That's
coming
so
back in
dope.
2018.
It was great.
Okay.
It was great. Now,
It's
I
gonna
saw-
be different.
It's gonna be different.
Oh wow! I saw it, man. It was inspiring. It was
I
funny.
appreciate
It was
that.
insightful.
It was everything.
Yeah,
It's such a great idea.
It really is.
appreciate
It's like the only other person does that I know is like Whoopi Goldberg that did like a one person show, or you know.
You know,
That's
it's
cool.
interesting because we were just talking about everybody getting re-inspired by everybody. So just just to pause right quick
Yeah.
and just to bring it back to Dwayne. So I remember Dwayne outside of the fact that he cut a lot of our hair for a while,
Yeah.
but as an actor and somebody that would act and do a lot of roles, and then over time just got tired of being overlooked, and then forming his own acting troupe, and then doing productions and collaborating with great people, and positioning himself to where that way when people come here looking for productions, they're seeking him out to get access to the talent that he has in this area that he's kind of cultivated. And I think that's the perfect example of with given the hand that you're dealt,
Right.
whether it's you guys creating content,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, going out there putting projects together, it's basically creating a lane for yourself. Because in this business, we're like in a stadium of 40,000 people, and everybody wants to be a filmmaker.
Wow.
And you can't help most of the people. But the people that you recognize are the people that stand up, and build a platform for themselves. And you say, man, now who was that waving? No, in the back row, who was that standing on top of that thing?
Right.
And that's what happens when you do your own thing and you build your own platform.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just yelling, and it's not like it's high school where if you go through 4 years, you're guaranteed a job in entertainment. That just isn't how this works.
Wow.
So do you still think people should go to college and get like a formal education for film, or should they just be doing it themselves and just like getting their iPhone out?
I think that college isn't for everybody. I loved it. I think that like a lot of the stuff I got from that school had less to do with the classroom and more to do with who was there. But I think to be a filmmaker, you have to make films.
Yeah.
To write,
Period.
direct, produce, act, you have to do those things. It's like trying to be a basketball player, but you never practice. See what I'm saying? So I think that like whether it's an iPhone or a 5D, 7D, whatever that is, the more stuff you shoot and the more feedback you get, the better you refine your craft and the more you improve.
What's the one book you would suggest to people out here?
It's called, the one book I would suggest to people is called Screenplay, How to Write a Screenplay, by a guy named Sid Feld, SYD.
Yeah, that's the real deal. He had another book called Real Deal, which is what I used when we did 4 minutes. That was on set with me. I was like, okay, what do we do here?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Great, yeah.
Copy
Great.
that one.
He
Exactly.
also has a workshop he does, so if you ever catch the workshop, it's just a book live, you know what I'm saying?
How did you come up with the quad? Because I know it wasn't called the quad at first, right?
No, first it was called The Yard, and basically it was a idea. We had done Stomp the Yard,
Right.
And wanted to see about maybe doing like a TV version of what that was. And because myself and Will went to Florida A&M, FAMU represent, it was the kind of thing where we wanted to tell that story about somebody who's not from the HBCU world coming there for the first time. So in Stomp the Yard, it was a kid from the West Coast. He was a dancer. College wasn't for him.
Right.
In the Quad, it was about a woman from the Northeast who's a Northerner coming to the South, knows nothing about HBCUs, so she was our way into the world.
Wow.
So we sold it over at BET, and partnered with a few great people. My producing partner, Mitzi Miller, as well as Felicia Henderson, Charles Holland, people like that, and set it up over there. They picked it up, and now it's the Quad.
That's
Second
what's
season.
up.
Big shout out to second season.
Yes.
And you got one of Pan Fam's on, Penn Network's on, Larry Rim as well.
Yes.
Larry Rim, that's
Big
my
shout out to
man.
Larry. Big
Shout out to Larry Rim, man, aka Bryce Richardson. I see you, man. I
Right.
see you.
So you said you shopped it, or you were able to have distribution. I mean, it's easy for you. You're Rob Hardy. Like, what do? We shoot things on our iPhones, and we get cameras. We get people to invest in us, and it sits. We have projects that's right now sitting.
Right.
How do we get people to see it?
So basically, here's the thing: is that you have two options. You shoot your product, you make your stuff, and then you can either go to a production company such as ours. You can go to producers that have a deal at a studio, whether it's Universal, Sony, wherever.
You need a showrunner, right? You need somebody to connect.
If it's a TV show idea,
Okay.
then it's really about either talent or a showrunner.
Okay.
See, TV and movies are very different. Like movies, you know, you and I could go and just shoot a movie. If it's cool, somebody says, man, we're going to put this out in theaters or sell it. That's great. Television's different. Television, you got to make the donuts. They're going to say, I know this showrunner over here. They're going to be able to deliver 50 episodes of this show. But you and I just showing up with a cool idea, they don't really know that we can make that delivery. So, so television is definitely more of a, you got to be in the club network. So whenever you sell the show, so let's take The Quad for example. I sell it to BET. BET's like, man, this is great, but for us to really move forward on this, you need a showrunner. We know who you are. This might be a great idea, and you might be going to an HBCU, but who's going to do the day in, day out work of writing the show, of arcing the seasons, of knowing what's going to happen in season 4? That's not you, so who is that? So then you got to go find somebody that the network will approve to make your show happen. So a lot of times what happens is when you guys are taking out, this is for scripted shows. So a lot of times when you guys are taking out shows, it's all about who do we partner with that the network wants to be involved with, in business with. If it's not a showrunner, then it needs to be a star.
Or a strong writer, maybe?
You could have a strong writer, but then there's still
Well,
going
starting to be attached to the project.
Yeah, so it's one or the other. Is do you have a star that they want to be in business with, or do you have a showrunner that you want to be in business with? Every once in a while, you can use a hot script to try to get either the star or the showrunner on board to then get the network.
Let me ask you this. Do you think, let's say we have a hot idea, we have, you know, maybe like a series Bible, we know some of the episodes that we want. Do we shoot a pilot? Do we have to have something visual, a sizzle, a trailer?
You don't have to have that for a scripted show.
Okay.
The only times that you, now, again, there are different approaches. If you want to go and shoot a pilot and then try to sell that to a network and say, hey, I got this pilot and, you know, maybe you guys will buy it, you could try that. You know, you'd be better off shooting that pilot, trying to release it yourself and get people watching your show. You know what I'm saying? Like Awkward Black Girl, right? So then all of a sudden, then you build the commodity, and then you're the commodity. You shooting a TV show, bring it to me, and maybe I pick it up, maybe I don't, maybe I have 50 set of notes. But you putting it out yourself, like Money and Violence, right? And then all of a sudden, you know,
it's 8 people trying to buy it.
There you go. There you go. That's the way that you do that. Or you write the hot script and you say, I know this piece of talent that a lot of people are trying to get in bed with, then you go take it to that person, see if they'll attach themselves. Now it's a different conversation because all they want to know is, man, I want to be in business with this actor or this musician. And the script seems kind of cool too. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you get it.
And that's for like a show. So if it's a movie, do you think film festivals is the way to go?
Yeah, movies, film festivals are great. If you have a finished movie that you're trying to get out there, film festivals are great. And also reaching out to those distributors themselves. And again, if it's a hot script, people are always looking for hot scripts. So that's easier if it's a movie.
Right. So you guys, go ahead.
It seems like maybe the black market, the content is limited on what we get to see. Is it stuff that just doesn't get greenlit, or is that all we tend to come up with? Like, I would love to see some more. I don't know, maybe outer space type thing, sci-fi genre with black people. And I didn't know.
Or 300 with black people. You know what I'm saying?
Something like that. Like why is it constantly the same content?
It's about who's going to make it. That's the challenge. You do 300 with black people, then it's like, okay, well, you know, it's a period piece. You know, that's a lot of money, and then based upon that,
but they do it all the time.
CGI too.
They do. But then they say, yeah, but then in China they're gonna want to see this. And you know, in Russia they're gonna want to see this. Do they want to see 300 with black people in China and Venezuela?
Somebody's got to do it though, right?
No.
Step up.
I agree, but it's a matter of who wants to pay that price tag. So then that way, if you're a network that does urban content, as they call our stuff, then how do you spend that money? Because to do that show and to do it right may cost $5. To do, you know, the Quad or a comedy might cost $2.
Easy content.
So you have it with Valerian. That was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
180 million indie,
18.
and they made 18 this weekend. But they think it could overseas.
Overseas though, but here's the thing is that when you travel overseas, you know, and you know you look at TV, all you'll see is like procedurals, and it's the same thing. So that's how they're looking at it. They're looking at it like, okay, who's going to track overseas? How do we position this? How does it work? You know. So that's how they think, and we are making some moves. I mean, you know, you got Black Lightning coming out, you know, so it's the black superheroes.
Black Panther.
Black Panther.
That's gonna be big.
Yeah, but even that was still introduced through the Avengers.
Right.
So then now, as an offshoot of that, you kind of
It's a
get
tempo project.
There you go.
Are you
Look
still
at Wrinkle
involved
in
with?
Time. That's
Oh,
a-
Wrinkle in
that's a
Time.
huge-
Wrinkle in Time.
Yes.
That's a huge film.
Yes.
Even.
So Rob, I
Hopefully
know
he does
outside of filmmaking, I'm seeing you do these Iron Man competitions and stuff like that, man. How'd you get into that?
Word?
Ha, yeah.
I see him jumping over logs,
That's funny. That's
carrying
funny.
people, everything. I'm like, what's
Hey,
wrong with you?
You in
listen,
shape, bro.
listen, I need to get back into that, man. You know, I love physical fitness, and so what happens is that I'll start working and then stop, and then I'll become Clark Kent again. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to like get that consistency.
Nah,
man,
he was
but-
covered in mud one day. I said, Rob
Yeah.
was out there. He ain't playing.
Yeah, nah, tough mother represent, man. We had a good time. That was a hard one.
How do you
That was a hard one.
stay in shape like on 16-hour days while you shoot and things like that? I mean, what do you eat?
Don't
How
eat
does
so
the diet and things like that?
So basically, staying in shape is I just try to eat like a lot of small meals throughout the day, drink a lot of water, and then if I'm on location shooting, like if I'm not home and don't have kids and stuff, then I'll work out on weekends or try to run.
Gotcha.
It's harder when I'm home because there's like a lot of stuff to do at home.
Now you gotta
You still taking out that trash,
Yeah,
right?
man. Yeah, exactly. There's a whole lot of that happening.
Right, man. You know, you
Yeah.
gave me my first big role in the movie, The Gospel, so I really appreciate that,
Yes.
man. You know, just working with you on that project, seeing the people who've come out of like
That was a
Idris
good
Elba.
movie.
Yeah, right. Like Idris Elba's a big star now.
China McClain.
Alright.
Yes.
China's doing her thing. Exactly, man.
Yes.
Exactly. So
People think Tyler Perry stuff made her, but that was
Nah, it was a
Raceforest. Yeah.
They saw her very early. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's good.
That was her first
Sure was.
project was our show. You know, it's funny about that you mentioned China McClain. So my kids have known that I do this.
Yeah.
And they've been on film sets and they never cared. And so one day we were at home and there was some old pictures and there was some pictures of the gospel on our computer. And my older boy saw China McClain. And at that moment she had a Disney series. You know, and so he was like, wait, that's China McClain. I said, oh yeah, we did a movie together. He was like, so now what do you do? I've been directing. Like you've been on set before. It's like, yeah. How do I meet China McClain?
So who are you?
And so then we go to the Image Awards and we're on the red carpet. We see Oprah Winfrey. She comes over. She's like, hey, little man. He's like, hey, what's up? You know, didn't care. Kevin Hart. Hey, what's up? Doesn't care. Then China McClain. Oh, it's China McClain. So we took a picture with China McClain.
Oh my
that's dope.
goodness.
That was his thing.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah,
I gotta
we
be
knew.
proud of you. You got two boys. You got boys. They gotta be proud of you directing all the stuff for DC. How cool is that, man? You get to work on the Flash and Arrow, right?
Yeah.
So how cool is that, man?
Do you have an agent?
That is, I do have an agent.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. That was actually, you know, outside the China McClain thing. Arrow and the Flash were the first time that like my kids ever cared about what we did. It's interesting. No, it's interesting because in the superhero world, everybody gets to be a kid, so you
Right.
get to see that stuff, and that's kind of probably the one thing where friends will say, "Hey, well, we're gonna fly up and bring our boys by," and we always encourage that, and especially when we do stuff like on the quad, we always want to bring kids out, especially kids of color, because you
Sure.
want them to be able to see that
Expose them.
that this is for everybody.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And that
absolutely.
there are people that look like you that are here. And that's not to look down on anybody, but that's just to say that hey, it's for us too.
You can do it too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's important.
Plenty of people are looking up to you.
So you got direct Power, and then that's a huge series right
Yeah.
now. How was that experience? You did a couple episodes of Power.
Yeah, I did.
Empire.
And Empire, I did it. So, matter of fact, the finale of Power this season is mine.
Whoa.
You know,
What?
So if you're a fan of that show, check it out.
Which is
You just-
everybody.
Yeah,
Hello.
absolutely. I appreciate
People
that.
with that,
I
man.
appreciate
People
that.
love that show. And what a friend of mine told me, he watched the show regularly. He said your episodes are some of the best episodes.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Mac Wells said that.
That's what's up. Hey, good looking out, man. No, Power is an amazing show. It's and it all starts with the writing. It's so
Right.
well written on that show. And
What-
the first time I did it, shout out to Courtney Kemp, the writer and creator of that. But the first time I did that show, I would go through and say, hey, well, can I change the line here? And she'd say, well, you can't change that line because in 3 episodes it sets up what's going to happen. It was so well thought out.
Wow.
That I was just like, oh, okay, wow. And then if on the screen, if on the page, if it says, okay, you're shooting in the dope spot,
Gotcha.
or if you're in the big fancy hotel, like you really go to those places in Power. It's not like we're just gonna take a nice place and throw some trash. Now
Right.
we going to the dope spot.
Wow.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
love
And
that.
that's
I
what
love
we-
that.
That's what makes
That makes it
authentic.
real.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Tell us some about directing, like the more technical stuff. Like what are you looking at? Are you looking at the actors? Are you looking at the actual like pan, the shot? Like tell us some
You
more
have a real
about
question,
acting.
Kenya?
No, I do. Like,
One thing
I really want to know.
One thing I've seen with how Rob prepares before he directs, he bring your actors in and you kind of place them where you want them.
Shut up.
That's the best way to be. You're developing your game plan very early. So
I
you're not,
appreciate
and I see that you have Larry bring a lot of actors to set.
Yep,
and
that's right.
You guys block the scenes, man.
No, I really want to know. Rob, like tell us more about directing. What are you looking for? Like
Your face.
You know, directing. Basically, I'm looking at the whole picture of just how to tell the best story.
Okay.
Like, so a lot of times I think that writers focus on the writing. Cinematographers focus on how it looks. But really, what I want to do is to think if we're doing a scene, how does what we're doing tell the story?
Right.
So like as actors and filmmakers, we know what the story is about, but the person at home doesn't really know. And so because we were talking about like international, right? And what they like in China or Zimbabwe, they need to be able to look at the story and have whatever visuals that we show tell them what the story is about. So that's why how you're acting makes sense. Like what you're reading and whether or not we show it or not makes sense. Do we hold that off till later? All those things visually have to tell the story, so that way somebody with a totally different life experience can relate to it.
do you have anything to do with the editing?
So that way after I direct, then I get a certain amount of time to edit.
Okay.
And then my edit gets handed into the producers, and the producers make their changes, and that goes to the network. Yeah.
So it seems like a lot of hands are involved. Are you ever like attach anything and you have to just let that go and let the process be what it is?
Yeah.
You ever fight for anything like, oh, I want to keep this because it is?
In TV, it doesn't work that way. It does in movies.
Okay.
So here's the difference. If you do a movie, that's a one-off. So you go shoot a movie, Blade Runner, and that's Blade Runner. You're the director. You do your thing, and that's it. When you are doing an episode of Power, so if you do season 2, then that is the second book of Power, and there are 10 chapters or 10 episodes. I'm doing one of the chapters. So the writers know how chapter 1 connects with chapter 5, connects with chapter 10. So they'll give me some creative leeway to design the shots and who does what and how does it look, and camera angles. That's all me. But as far as the final decisions of how it's got to be, it's got to feel like it's an episode of Power and not Law and Order or The Shield or
Tone
whatever.
has to be there.
Tone has to be there, and that's why they have to figure out what stage, because they may decide, you know what, we're going to pull this out because we don't want to reveal this to the next episode.
Have you ever missed something you thought was bigger, shooting something else, and you're like, God damn it!
Like a director's role?
Double book.
Yes. So like a lot of times, in this business, you work to kind of, transition. So for me, it was breaking into TV, apprenticing. So already being like a working movie director, then having to fall back and apprentice, and then you apprentice, and then you get your first gig, and then you try to, and it was a year before I got my second gig.
Wow.
So
What?
yeah, because you're hustling and try to get your second gig. Then when I got this where, you may book something and then something else that you've wanted to do for a while comes available, but once you're booked, you're booked. You're not.
You ain't no getting out of that.
So Rob, how's the money? Like, let's get real. How's the money in directing?
It's all good.
Yes. Let's talk about
The
it.
money.
Let's
Shoot.
go.
The money.
Crass.
We got some people that want to be directors out there. Are they gonna be struggling for a minute?
So
Yes.
so here's the deal. If you work as a working television director, the money's good. You know what I'm saying? And it's all basically all like a union standard. So it's not like Martin Scorsese got way more money because he did this movie, or Spike Lee got more money because they did this TV show.
Oh, really?
It's not really how it works. It's kind of like if you do the first episode, the pilot, that sets the tone, you'll get more for that. But if you do any other episode after that, in network television, the money's all the same. And so,
That's so
and
interesting.
they have scale. So if you do like a 1 hour drama and a 1 hour drama for pay cable, it's the same. But if you do a 1 hour drama for basic cable, which is anything from like FX to BET, then it's a different pay rate. Same thing for comedy. Comedy is less money for prime time and pay cable than it is for, you know, doing like Atlanta, you know, or something like that.
You in a union?
Yeah, Directors Guild.
So right now, as an artist, working actor, working artist, what inspires you? Like, what shows inspire you? What director inspires you? Because I know you have to look for inspiration to stay active in that as well. So what inspires Rob Hardy?
What inspires me is good work and great energy. Like there'll be times like the first time I saw, you know, Atlanta, I was like, my God, that's what I'm talking about. You know, that or you know, Narcos. You know,
that first season was incredible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so like you'll see certain shows, Friday Night Lights, that you'll just see as a director, and you'll be inspired by the work that people are doing.
Breaking Bad was like that for me. When I saw Breaking Bad, I was blown away.
So can you watch a movie or TV just as a fan and just enjoy yourself?
Yeah.
You can?
Yes.
You gonna shut out?
Did you see Get Out?
Yes, I did.
Do you like it?
I did. I like that one. I like that one. You know, I can watch it as a fan all day. The only time that I'm more critical is when I watch my own stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because that's my first time seeing it since I handed it in, so I have no idea what the cut looks like.
That's
you know,
It's kind of like the actors out there. They do their job, and you just gotta wait and see what happens.
That's it.
You don't even know if you're in it.
That's it. And the whole time you're like, wait a minute, like you know, we do all this, you know, big sweeping wides and cranes, and it's just like close ups.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
You know, or sometimes you may get asked that question, like, hey, well, why'd you do it that way? And you're like, well, actually, I didn't. You know what I'm saying? But glad you watched it.
What was your I have arrived moment? Because you have arrived, bro. So what was your I have arrived moment? What was that one moment you're like, wow, this is it? And then you had to sit and take it all in.
Wow.
Is it this right here?
Yo.
He has arrived.
It is this conversation. You know what I'm saying? No, you know, it's funny.
We have arrived. How about that?
You know, I've never actually felt like, you know, I have arrived. You know, that's
So humble.
that. You know, it's more so was a situation to where there was one year that I called the year of yes. It was the year where I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it. I'm just gonna work whatever they offer me. I'm gonna say yes. And I worked 10 months out of a 12-month year, which sounds amazing, but 10 months of 15-hour days, and you're working weekends, and you're mostly on the road, and like I was tired, and like I didn't know really where I was, and you know, and after you work a lot, you know, you kind of don't know where you are. And I used to remember, you know, saying, man, I need some time off.
A year of no.
And then I need some time off. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was like, man, you know, I really wish I could have those problems. I really wish I could be in that situation.
That's true.
And that was the first time that I thought about it. And it wasn't that I was complaining, but it was that I was physically exhausted. And then cut to 2 years later, I saw that same young woman. And she was like, oh my gosh, you know, this is so busy. I need to find out a way where I can take some time with the kid. I said, man, you remember 2 years ago, we had this reverse conversation, you know. But I say all that to say that whatever stage that you're in, whether you're starting out, whether you've been in it for a while, whether it's popping for you or not, enjoy where you are. Because when you have more time, then you have more flexibility to spend with your friends and your family and do other stuff.
But you broke though.
Yeah, but you can still, because we're creative, innovative people, you can still find ways to live your life and enjoy your life. You could also, I would talk to people that would do shows and they would make a lot of money, and I would be like, man, you know, you're not happy. They're like, dude, I'm just on the set for 10 months out the year, 13 hours a day, so I don't really get to take my kid to play baseball or enjoy life. And nobody's knocking. I'm just saying wherever you are,
gotta be a balance.
Enjoy that phase.
So let's shout out the real MVP, who's got to be your wife.
Yeah.
Shout out. There we go.
Shout out to Sean Hardy. Absolutely.
Because I mean, you're talking about when you worked 10 months straight. I mean, how often did you even
listen? That's why we can't keep doing that one. Right. You know what I'm saying? You know, because honestly, since you talked about that, this business is hard on relationships. Whether you're an actor, producer, director, whatever. If somebody says, okay, great, you know, comedian, okay, great, you got a show and you're gonna be in, you know, Lithuania for 6 months. You're really in Lithuania for 6 months. And it sounds amazing and the money's good, but month 3, you're like, man, I wonder what's going on back home.
Right.
You know, I wonder. And so then you do a few years of that, then, you know, everybody at home is used to not starving. And once you're used to not starving, then they start thinking about, well, when can you come home so we can enjoy you?
Right.
When can you come home so that way you can be there for your kids?
And you are very much a family man. You came to one of our showcases with your family.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was an
right.
off time. He's coming from the baseball
Been
game.
a baseball
I remember
game.
that one.
Yeah,
He
he
did a
was
kid
sweet.
showcase.
Yeah, I've had
he was
breakfast with
sweet.
him and his son before.
Yeah.
So we know you just signed a deal to do a project with T.I. for Fox, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So can you tell us anything about that project?
Yeah, it's there's a project called Atlanta's Most Wanted, and it's basically Miami Vice, set in Atlanta.
Nice.
Wow.
Dope.
And so we're doing that with Fox Network and producer Jerry Bruckheimer.
Oh wow, that's
Whoa.
huge, man. That might be the project. Like wow, look at this. That might be your.
Yeah.
I have a ride, bro. That's dope, man. So you're executive producer on that.
I'm
Yeah.
executive
Bruckheimer.
producer.
Oh
and
my
Growing up
God,
cars,
bro,
yeah.
that's what's
Well,
up.
just for the record, I played a lot of cops. My lane. Huh?
I can play a bad guy. Look at this.
He got the God on the camera. God, talk to Rob.
That's huge, man. So it's more like a New York undercover for Atlanta because Atlanta
Yeah.
needs a show like that. Atlanta's
Yes.
I didn't have T.I. involved. One of the hottest people to come out of Atlanta.
From
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Wait a minute, T.I. playing cop?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
He can so do it.
basically, T.I.'s the star of the show, kind of like LL is for NCIS.
Okay, okay,
in
okay.
LA.
Nice.
Yeah. So and
Network?
and his Grit Network is from Fox, and
Fox.
it gives Tip a chance to do that here in Atlanta, and it gives us a chance to showcase our city for Atlanta.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So we'll be in different parts and everything like that. So we're gonna the plan is to do the pilot in March, and then see what happens. But fingers crossed.
Yeah, I met Tip once. He came over to his house with his son to get his son's headshots, and he's really that Atlanta straight up street dude. That's just who he is.
Yep.
He ain't no denying. He's not putting on the front. That's just really him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
did-
still a family man.
Oh yeah.
Do you do music videos? Have you done that? Are you still involved in that?
I have done music. I haven't done that in a while. We started off doing music, trying to do music videos back when we were in Florida, and we weren't that amazing at it, so it didn't really last for us.
Are you still affiliated with Bounce?
Yeah. So basically, Will and I were when Bounce was first starting. We were consultants for the network for the first
Nice.
3 years, so we don't consult for them anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're on their way.
Oh yeah, Bounce does his thing. Yeah. Shout out to Ryan Glover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what's
So, is there
up.
anything you want to say to anybody out here before we kind of close up here? What are some of your parting words for people who are trying to obtain their goals, their dreams, man? Because you have officially reached a point where you can say, "This is what I did. This may work for you, may not." What do you want to give to people?
I want to encourage people, that are trying to be out there to make moves, is to have faith and keep striving and run your own race. Like a lot of time, yeah, you got to put blinders on the side. Like they were saying that, like for disc jockeys, right? They put the blinders on the horses because if everybody's falling around them, they still got to focus on what they're doing.
Not disc jockeys, Rob, because that's DJs.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Exactly, right, exactly. Hey, exactly. Not the disc jockey. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
I was like, them DJ battles
I
serious.
didn't really know if y'all was paying attention. Right. Yeah.
We got you.
Yeah, the disc jockeys, yes. So, anyway, absolutely right. No, but for real, it's about, like, maintaining your own focus and to, run your own race. Like this whole entertainment business, this is a long distance run. It's not a sprint.
Jesus.
And just because somebody's hot today doesn't mean that they're going to be hot in 20 years. Just because they're hot today, you have no idea what it takes for them to sustain that success,
Sure.
or the toll that it'll take. Sometimes you'll run into a brick wall to force you to do something so you can get that platform to stand on
Right.
and still be able to maintain your family and your sanity
Balance.
and all that type of stuff, rather than blowing up super quick. You can't handle it, and then you just flame out.
You
So
got your Justin Bieber moment. You just break down, and and everybody's complaining because he's stopped his tour. I think that's smart for him if he needs some time.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, better that than end up strung out dead,
Yes.
or whatever. So I just think that we all got to run our race, and just because you see 5 people doing their thing, those 5 people can't help everybody, and they're not meant to. A lot of times, those 5 people are just meant to show you that it can be done, so then you and I can try to figure out what our own path
I
is.
tell you that all the time. All the time.
Is that a tough thing? So you got, like you said, it's a stadium full of filmmakers, and you yeah, this is my first time meeting you. You seem
Yeah.
like a real good-hearted person.
I appreciate
That you
it.
probably want to see people win, but it's like you can't help you can't save everybody. You could give advice with pull. Is that ever tough? Like,
Yeah, it's when I was first starting, I tried to help as many people as I could.
Yeah, he really did.
But then what happened is you just get tired, and all of your time is spent going to just meetings to meet with people, but you never really get your stuff done. And so because of between like working and family, then whatever you have left, it's only a small amount of time. So you got to be able to say, okay, I got to make these moves to try to push the thing forward. So I can help these 2 people, but I can't help them 17. And the 17 might be mad, but you know, hey.
Well,
Even not like I produced the radio show. We put up the flyers, and my DMs was, "Yo, I want to connect with Desi. Hey, Rob, could you?" And I'm like,
I got
this.
people in my DMs too.
I'm like, man, like you know what I'm saying? I'm happy to be here.
Well,
So,
here's the thing too. I think that with Rob, for me, this is just me speaking, from my experience. Just to have him on a call, when we're shooting something, says, Rob, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?
Yes.
That's the most valuable thing. His advice and him just being a friend first is that I think we look at people and think that they have to come and do this stuff for us to help us get to this. You got to help yourself first, but at the same time, have somebody
I've been
at
with
the end.
Rob when you called, and he's like,
I'm like, man, it's Dwayne.
Again, right? Again. No, but I tell you, that's a valuable asset to be able to have that advice when I need it.
No, seriously. That's why I said from the beginning, like, your support means the world. And just to be here, you're supporting us, but you're talking to people out there. And they're like, wow, thanks. Because they can't call you. You know what I mean? Are you on social media a lot?
I'm on social media. I'm not on social media as much as I used to. Honestly, it's a whole lot happening in our country politically, so I just kind of had to take a little bit of a break from that. You know what I'm saying? But I have been on social media a lot. Yes, yes, I absolutely have.
Social media changed everything from
It
even when
does.
you guys were coming up.
Yeah,
Filmmaking and stuff like that.
Yeah, back then it was just the internet for at least for black people was brand new when we were first starting. So back then people would forward emails, people would open links.
That's true.
And that game has totally evolved from then to everybody has smartphones.
Right.
That's a new thing.
Wow. Well, thank you, Rob.
Yeah, man.
Hey, y'all, thank y'all for
Give
having me.
Rob a round of applause, guys.
Thank y'all.
This is like amazing.
Thank y'all.
And so I know people are going to be hitting me. How can we get in touch with you now?
Real Rob Hardy.
Okay.
Real Rob Hardy. The real Rob Hardy.
He'll post once in a while. Y'all can follow him on social media. Last thing that we want to do is we have this game that we play all the time.
Seen it.
And so this week we want to ask you, what's a movie, or that even you guys, what's a movie that you saw that you felt like it was the director that really made that movie good, not necessarily the
I already know what was
actors.
mine, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was the direction,
Right.
the cinematography.
For me, it was No Country for Old Men. Like the storytelling in that movie, the way the angle, just the tone they took for that entire film was incredible to me. Felt the right. When I saw Javier Bardem's performance on the screen, I said, "This guy's gonna win the Oscar," and he did. I predicted that early in the year because it was just so amazing, and I wondered what was his preparation for that role. He even spoke in an interview one time. He said he pretended like he had a bomb in his chest that was gonna go off at any minute.
Really?
So that brought this intensity to his character that we hadn't seen before. Like, so when I tell you, that's one of the most best portrayals of a bad guy outside of Heath Ledger, because I thought it was amazing. But this guy, if he's sitting outside of my house when I go home one day, I'm never going to that house. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that the Coen brothers did No Country for Old Men, which I thought was really
You know which
incredible.
movie I like? For the director, Pursuit of Happiness.
Okay.
That was great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
well, I would say The Godfather, because Martin Scorsese was the star, basically,
Sure.
of The Godfather. So.
Martin Scorsese. The Godfather?
Yeah, he
The
directed.
director.
Oh,
Yeah.
Francis Ford Coppola for The Godfather.
Was it?
Yeah.
You don't know your directors.
Well, he and friends.
Now listen to me, man. Listen to me. Martin Scorsese is a disc jockey, right?
Get out of here. That's my movie. You can't be They didn't know shit.
Rob gave you the benefit of the doubt.
Rob was looking like,
Did he say, is he? He said, yeah.
What's
He
your movie,
agreed.
Rob?
For me, it's Rocky. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because that just could have
Philly.
just been.
Which one?
Rocky 1.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Buck? So Rocky 1's my favorite, but actually, it was Rocky Balboa. I'm bugging. Sylvester
Which one is
Stallone.
that?
It was
One where he
it was
came
the last Rocky where he came back. So
5?
I don't know which one.
6.
The one before Ryan Coogler's
Slice.
going, right?
Sylvester Stallone directed that movie, and it was called Rocky Balboa. It was really Rocky 6, and it was about the fact that he was a washed-up dude that had a restaurant, and people knew him as Rocky, but he just wanted to be relevant. And I like that because it was like how Sylvester Stallone really was in his life. And he was like, yo, I used to be the boy, but now they say I'm washed up. Nobody fools with me. My wife is dead. My son don't fool with me. And I'm just, all I got is my memories, but I still want to matter.
Right.
And the way that he did it, it was with such heart and integrity. And I was like, Rocky 6, who the hell about to go see that? But I wound up seeing it like on a plane one day, and I was like, yo, it was so much like life and so much real stuff in there.
Wow.
Yeah, Rocky Balboa.
Dope. Well, thank you guys for coming today. Well, thank you guys for tuning in and watching. Thank
Shout
Rob
out to
Party for
Desi.
coming.
Hey,
Desi,
appreciate y'all.
no doubt.
Have you
no
seen
doubt.
Girls Trip yet?
I have.
Dope,
I have.
right?
Dope movie. Dope
Yeah.
my wife's seen it twice. They actually had a girls trip.
Wow.
Oh,
They did.
sweet.
Dope.
Yes.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
For
shout
real, right?
out to Will Packer
Yes.
and my man Malcolm Lee
Yes,
on that movie.
absolutely.
I knew when the Best Man was one of my favorites, so I knew when he was involved. Come on.
Yeah.
They brought Kenya Barris. I mean, the right.
Kenya
Oh
Barris is
my
the homie.
God.
They
Absolutely.
murdered that movie.
Yeah.
That movie was just like it's up there with any comedy, not just black comedy. It's like this.
Every music festival, all of that.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you guys for tuning in this
All right,
week.
that's
We'll see
what's
you
up.
guys
It's
next week.
Industry
Industry School.
School.
There it is.
Shout out to Genya and her baby hair. Yeah, we out here.
Now, who's up and coming? What's coming up? We talking television, film, entertainment, and such. The hottest topics, yeah, we got it in the clutch. Sports, fashion, politics.